For all the boys in blue, for all the Syed, Sumail, Hassan fans out there, this episode is for you. Basically, this is a interview and answer format of a video. It was first posted by cybersport.com. So Crystalis Dota will reiterate these questions and put in his own input. I'll put in my own input and what I feel about these answers and these, Evil Geniuses situation. So starting from the beginning, this was an interview that was tackling the ideas regarding Evil Genius's recent struggles and roster changes. So the first question is, your move to the offlane has probably been one of the biggest changes this year. How did you find this transition? Or how did you feel about this change? He says at first it was cool and it was also kind of risky. I also felt like I needed to play the offlaner and needed to pull it off. And I thought I could, but although I really didn't want to, which, by the way, I think he did want to, but he's now saying he didn't want to because they did have Universe and he's a legendary offlaner. But anyways, he says that he didn't want to do it and he says he did it for the team. And it's been rough ever since. I think this has been the worst year in my career. It's a wild ride. So Sumail says that this season, past year, as playing an offlane position has been the worst time of his Dota career. And that is possibly true. What do you guys think? Honestly, I agree. He hasn't done any worse than this year. They literally have not won any tournaments. Even going to the Galaxy finals, they lost to VGJ, a tier 3 team. So the next question, if you went back in time, would you have objected more? Sumail says, if I would go back knowing my situation now, I would definitely not do it. He's saying that if he knows what would happen, I definitely would not have wanted to play the offlane position. There's also another quote that says, we were just bad as a team and we tried to find a scapegoat. This means that Evil Geniuses in totality were not doing well. They weren't executing, they weren't performing well, they didn't have good drafts, they didn't have any good strategy. So they were trying to find an excuse, someone to blame. And perhaps the blame felt on Universe, perhaps the blame felt on, later on, Fear and Misery, but it's still an overall bad team chemistry. And that's the problem. It says, there's another question and says, you also said you didn't like the state of the mid lane when you moved over. Sumail says, yes. It was a combination of everything pretty much. The mid lane was really in a weak spot and we didn't know what to do in the off lane. We were just bad as a team and we tried to find an excuse, a scapegoat, as I said. It's kind of sad in a way, but that's what people do when they're in a bad spot, when they're not confident. So Sumail's telling the truth here. He's saying the real reason why we decided to do this experimentation entirely is because we didn't know what we were doing. Our team was overall terrible. We thought it was the offlane position, we thought it was a mid lane problem, but overall we were just bad. We weren't confident. And when you lose confidence in anything, in any sport, in anything in life, you just fall short. So I guess you could take that into the bank. Always have confidence in life. The next question is, are you looking for more back to the mid lane after TI? Sumail says, maybe I will move before TI. Well, he says maybe, but this is probably and most likely a sure fact because they don't have any other mid laner on the team. S4 is the legendary offlaner, and Fly is always a support kind of player. Sumail is a legendary mid, so why not, The next question. You made one roster change so far, but we've seen plenty of them this year. Do you think teams change roster too quickly? Sumail responds, I think so. If you have patience, you can have a better team with the same players, but people always look for shortcuts. It's how the universe works. If you stay together instead of blaming a single player, you blame yourselves as a team. I think every team can improve. So Sumail's saying instead of blaming a single person or finding a scapegoat, it's better to blame the entire team and then find ways to combat it or find ways to get better. But most people look for the shortcuts, the easy ways in life, and therefore they blame the single person, the target. We got 2 more questions, so bear with me here. You're in no man's land in terms of qualifying for TI. Are you still worried? I stopped worrying about losing at this point. I think that's what makes you lose in the first place. So if you worry about losing, if you worry about failures in life, that's going to perpetuate and eventually become the inevitable outcome. This means that if you think about losing or failing or, losing your girlfriend, well, that's probably going to happen. Be confident. That's what Sumail is saying. I think the biggest problem with every person out there, in Dota especially, so he's saying that is the biggest problem in Dota. They care too much of what other people think and they care too much about winning. At the end of the day, if you just go to these events and play the game you love, then winning is going to come naturally. So he's trying to recall his inner TI5 baby 14-year-old Sumail. He's trying to, bring that back. Honestly, that's what Sumail is trying to do, and that's what he needs to do. If you're a Sumail fan, honestly, you know that when he started Dota, he was just an honest, pure talent. He just loved Dota and he wanted to perform, and he suddenly was able to win TI5. And then it says the question is regarding his maturity. It seems like you have worked on your mindset, and he says, I think it comes with age. I don't think people realize it, but I've had a lot of responsibility on this team. I catch a lot of flack. It helps you grow as a person, and it doesn't matter if good things or bad things come your way. It really does help you grow as a person. I made a lot of decisions as a young person, and some of them were not too good. You have to deal with those. So he's probably recalling to the drama with PPD, and this is a very bad decision. Having an argument with your captain, who actually led you to win the international and then eventually causing the team to break apart, is actually one of the most detrimental faults or bad decisions that Sumail has done. And you probably all can agree. And then the last question was, your brother, your war, is on VGJ Storm. This is the first time we've seen sibling rivalry in the scene. What is it like having a rival as your brother? That's what he's basically asking. Sumail says, honestly, it's really cool because he has been working so hard for a long time, and finally he got a break. We were at the same minor as them, and even if we lost, I was more happy for him than I would have been if we won the major. People like him haven't seen any big wins, so it was really cool to see. So, this is what true love is. Sumail really appreciates his brother's victory at GESC minor. I mean, he finally got a big tournament win. It's not the greatest big tournament, but it's still something, and that is a beautiful, beautiful trait about the Sumail brothers. I guess Sumail and EG.Sumail, they got love for each other. That being said, this is the current situation of Syed, Hassan, Sumail, and what he is thinking about the current situation, the current roster. If you like what I do, if you appreciate my time analyzing this interview, leave a comment below and subscribe to this channel if you want more Crystalis Dota. Anyways, until next time, I'm out. By the way, guys, you can win a TI8 International 2018 Compendium. All you have to do is share, comment, and subscribe to this channel, Crystalis Dota. I really want to support the TI industry, the Dota world. It means so much. So I hope you guys can win. Subscribe, share, and comment.